Alright, so this is Halloween Cup 2.0, and what I mean by 2.0 is that this is an update, because I did an early release last time, but then, like, some new things came out, and then now Halloween Cup is just a lot more interesting. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but definitely things change, and it's really relevant. So anyways, Halloween Cup is going to run from October 26th to Tuesday, November 3rd, so it's actually a week. So if I were you, on the 26th, as you see here, Master League is still running. So if you hate Master and Premier Cup, you can actually wait till 1 p.m. PST or Pacific Delta Time or whatever the hell, or GMT stuff, to actually wait for Halloween Cup. And if you've been doing, if you hate Master League and Premier Cup like I do, I'm just gonna wait till Halloween Cup happens on the 26th on Monday, and then it runs for a week. So it's from the 26th to the 3rd, so it's a week. So after that week is over, then all 3 leagues will come back along with the Masters Premier Cup. So you got a week of Halloween Cup. Remember that. Halloween Cup is in a week, and there's a few changes since I did my last early analysis. So you'll see it here. So in the format, it's only Poison, Ghost, Bug, Dark, and Fairy type Pokemon will be allowed. And you'll earn the research reward counters, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, all wearing, and it's a 1500 CP limit. So you know what? You know what 1500 CP means? Best League, which is the Great League, for an entire week. And you can actually, like I said before, you can wait until 1 p.m. and play Great League again instead of playing Premier. I recommend you do, just because Halloween Cup looks to be a lot of fun. And since I did my last analysis, like I said, there's some new things you should watch out for. Alright, so Mandibuzz and Galvantula. So the Go Hub analysis is going to update a few things that have definitely been buffed or have been released since I last did my last analysis, which was a couple of weeks ago. So Mandibuzz came out, and it's one of the things hatching in 12k strange eggs. And it's actually really good for Halloween Cup because of its dark and flying typing. In fact, it's literally the only... I would say it has, like I said, it's basically a flying Umbreon. And with its stats, it has very high defense and stamina. So like I said, it's an Umbreon. It's basically a flying Umbreon. This flying like attribute and its move pool make it a very powerful mon for Halloween Cup. Now, this one's really hard to get. You have to hatch a Vullaby, and then you have to get all that candy, throw all that rare candy into it, and then you can make it into a Mandibuzz. Now, do you need it? We'll find out. And it might not be that necessary because of the next mon I'm going to show you right now. Welcome to the Spooner, the electric spider, the thing that got buffed with lunge and actually wrecks your soul now that it has lunge. It is known as Galvantula. Galvantula and Mandibuzz are 2 Pokemon that either one got buffed or have released since I last did my analysis, and they actually are extremely meta relevant. I said before Azu was extremely powerful, the land of Azu. Now Azu actually might be a liability for your team in Halloween Cup. Now Galvantula, like I said, since it got lunge, it's extremely powerful, really good glass cannon, but because it has lunge, it's able to charge quickly with Volt Switch. Volt Switch charges 16 energy a shot, and it gets to discharge and Bug Buzz in only 3 Volt Switches. It gets there fast, it's very powerful, and by the way, because it's Bug and Electric, guess what? Discharge and Lunge, it's Bug and Electric respectively, and guess what? Galvantula gets that. So we're going to take a look on the rankings or the Matrix. The Matrix is mostly going to revolve around Galvantula and Mandibuzz. just because these two are what really changed the meta or changed the whole Halloween ranking since I last did my Halloween Cup video or my early analysis. Oh, right. Remember I said Mandibuzz and Galvantula basically flipped the entire meta? Behold and lo and behold. Mandibuzz and Galvantula now overtake Azu in the number 1 and number 2 spots. Azu used to be number 1 overall before Galvantula buffed and Mandibuzz got released. Now, the thing about Mandibuzz, Mandibuzz is actually the best, well, not really, I would say one of the best leads. It literally beats Umbreon. It also beats Venusaur, Golbat, etc. Air Slash is actually the moveset you want with it. Normally, Mandibuzz would have Snarl just because Snarl generates energy quickly. However, Air Slash allows you to do that extra damage against Bug type because Bug type is allowed in Halloween Cup. And also, this also allows you to take on those grass types with Air Slash. And it does get stabbed because it's a flying type. As you see, number 1 attacker, 100% consistency, extremely powerful as a lead and a closer. Not so much as a switch, but I wouldn't run Mandibuzz as a switch anyways. There are better switches out there, for example, like Galvantula and Azu. Now, the ironic thing is you actually lose against Galvantula and Azu, and because you have the dark typing, fighting types are neutral against you, so that means you lose against Obstagoon. You also lose against Zweilous just because Zweilous, it will resist your foul play, and Airlace just doesn't do enough damage. It's just extremely impressive. Even though it's tanky, Zweilous is also tanky, and it actually does a decent amount of damage with Body Slam. You'll also lose against Shadow Mawile, and it's, like I said, it's extremely powerful. Galvantula, on the other hand, is actually the number 1 lead and the number 1 switch in the entire game. So, what do you think you're going to pair with Galvantula? Mandibuzz and Galvantula, in my opinion, is actually going to be the strongest core for Halloween Cup. It's going to be very powerful because you check Azu. As you see, the key losses, some of the key losses that Galvantula goes to, Mandibuzz actually covers. Which means that Mandibuzz Galvantula core, in my opinion, if you have these two, they're going to run rampant in Go Battle League. Yeah. In Halloween Cup. Well, Halloween Cup's in Go Battle League, so yeah, Go Battle League, they're going to ramp it. And your third option, guess what? The Azumarill. Effectively 1, 2, 3. This is going to be the foreseeable BBML of Halloween Cup. If you have Mandibuzz, that is. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm probably actually going to go after a Mandibuzz myself. I just want a Vullaby, and then I'll probably rare candy it to death so I can build one for Halloween Cup, regardless of its CP, just because of how good it is. Now, it can be replaced, but like I said, there's really no, like, Galvantula, Azu, Mandibuzz. That's just a great combination, and it's really powerful. So, this is the really big update, is Mandibuzz and Galvantula. As you see, Galvantula being buffed, it's actually on par with Beedrill Shadow. Shadow Beedrill is really hard to get, however, the thing about Shadow Beedrill is you'll lose against Mandibuzz. You also lose against Wormadam Trash, and you'll lose it. The big thing is that confusion users will check you. That's the problem with Beedrill Shadow. Also, Shadow Beedrill is kind of hard to obtain. You can use regular Beedrill in its place, but you still lose against Mandibuzz, and you actually lose against Umbreon. So there's some things you flip and you don't flip. The number one lead, in my opinion, is Galvantula. Galvantula is just so incredibly powerful because it checks Mandibuzz and Azu. Because it's able to check Mandibuzz and Azu, it's extremely powerful. And if you have Lunge, you can actually play around a lot with Galvantula. Your number 1 closer, like I mentioned before, is actually Azu. Azu is extremely powerful. Azu is able to check Galvantula even. If you're in the 1 shield, Azu can check Galvantula. The keywords can. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying it's gonna suck a lot if you have Electric Spider versus Azumarill, but you know what? Water Bunny is okay. You also beat Mandibuzz, so Azu's actually your Galvantula Mandibuzz. Well, it's not really a core breaker for Mandibuzz Galvantula Mandibuzz, but you know what? It's really strong, and it's extremely powerful for Halloween Cup, and that's not really a surprise, just because of how strong Azu is in Go Battle League, and it also carries it over into Halloween Cup because it's also Fairy type. Now, the number 1 switch is Galvantula. Galvantula. Yes, Galvantula is the number 1 switch. It's able to, because of Discharge and because of Lunge, it's an excellent moveset, and you will definitely you will either pressure shields or deal heavy damage, even though it dies. So you can literally sack Galvantula and then have your other 2 clean up. Now there are some other interesting switch because Galvantula and other things rose to prominence. Some other things came up. For example, in the lead, Haunter and Beedrill are kind of in the middle. Beedrill is actually like the #1 lead, but because like, well, Shadow Beedrill was, but then like because of the rise of Galvantula, then it kind of like flipped everything around. Not too much, but it kind of flipped a little bit. As far as closers, Azu's still the #1 closer. Nothing flipped too much with the closer scenario. Azu's still the strongest closer in the Halloween Cup. And as Switch, the one that took over the most is Galvantula. I believe in this position, it used to be like it used to be not Alolan Muck, but like it was something else. But Galvantula is now the #1 Switch with Lunch. Now, with that being said, it's kind of interesting because now the Chargers thing is actually the Chargers is actually Galvantula, but as far as your attackers, it's Mandibuzz. So, like I said, things have changed not a lot, but because these two things are popular now, you're gonna expect, if you kind of had your plan out for a Halloween Cup, it kind of changes a bit now. Because if you look, Haunter actually loses against Mandibuzz and Umbreon. So if you're planning to use your Ghastly Community Day Haunter, I wouldn't recommend doing it now, because if you do, Mandibuzz and Umbreon wall you. So it's very difficult to play Haunter in the lead now. Not saying it's still good, but because Mandibuzz is actually a pretty dang good lead, you might, yeah, it's just really hard to play. It's just really hard to play. You do beat Galvantula with Haunter, and you do beat Azu. So as long as you can keep away from its weaknesses, you'll be okay. And of course, Confusion users just absolutely destroy Haunter's life. So just make sure you keep away from them. But that's another thing. Haunter was a good, I believe Haunter was like the #2 lead or something like that. But now it's jumped all the way to 4 because of Galvantula's prominence, and because Mandibuzz is out now. So just be careful of that. And that's pretty much the change. Like, those two mods pretty much changed like the top 10, and let's examine just how good Mandibuzz and Galvantula is in the Matrix. Alright, so here's the Matrix on Mandibuzz and Galvantula. These are two of the really powerful mons. You can also put Azu in there, but these are the twos I really want to center on. If you want to see my pre-analysis before these two mons came out, I put the link below in the description. If you want to check up the rest of the analysis I did for like the rest of like the meta, you take a look at that and then just add Mandibuzz and Galvantula. But really, we're going to look at Mandibuzz and Galvantula, and then I'll put in all the extra notes I put for Azu. So the thing is, oh, let me put Azu in here too. I'll add Azu in here just because Azu, like I said, this is probably, like, in my opinion, going to be the strongest core. Mandibuzz, Galvantula, Azu. This is probably going to be, like, one of the strongest teams, and I'll show you in the team builder, like, just what they cover. Now, if you see here, Azu is in, like, you see here, Galvantula as in the 2-shield, as the lead. The reason why it's, like, on par with Beedrill is, as you see, it checks both versions of Azu. And you actually check like all of the flyers and you check out like, you check so many things. As you see, Galvantula in the lead absolutely annihilates a majority of the meta, only losing to things like Wigglytuff because it can get charmed down, Shiftry, anything that deals humongous amount of damage like Zweilous. It only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 negative matchups out of like the 15 or 20 here. So that's like it beats only a quarter of a hit. So you only lose against Beedrill. Lose against Beedrill, Frostless, Alolan Marowak. I'll try to avoid Alolan Marowak. That's really bad. Mawile, Shiftry, and Wigglytuff. Just because like Mawile and Fire Fang just like absolutely chokes you down. Shadow Mawile. So if you look, Mandibuzz is actually really good too. As you see, Mandibuzz checks a lot. The reason why Mandibuzz and Galvantula melt so well, look at what they check. Mandibuzz essentially covers what Galvantula can't, like some of its matchups, as you see here. It covers Beedrill. It covers AWAC, what Galvantula normally is. Even Azu covers AWAC. Galvantula, it also covers Shiftry, the thing that like Galvantula can't. It covers Shiftry, and it also, and Azu covers the Zweilous matchup. So as you see here, this is why such a strong core. But this just shows you why Galvantula is such a great lead. As you see here, it checks a lot of the meta, and even if you don't, as a switch, it could probably these aren't bad matchups with Wigglytuff. If you can debuff them and get out of them and put a stronger and realign correctly, that's why Galvantula is an incredible switch, but also an incredible lead. Now, the one shield things get even more interesting. In the one shield, as you see here, Galvantula just runs through shop. Galvantula now beats Frostless. It also beats, let's see, what else does it flip? It now beats well, actually, it'll still beat Umbreon in the 2 shield, but it beats a horde of things that you couldn't beat in the 2 shield. And it's still very powerful. Like, Mandibuzz covers a lot. Mandibuzz and Galvantula both cover a lot of the meta. Beedrill, Frostless in the 1 shield. Haunter. Galvantula loses his Haunter in the 1 shield, but Mandibuzz covers that weakness. As here, just such an incredible core. And then we go on to the 0 shield. Now, the 0 shield, this is where Azu shines in the 3rd. As you see here, Azu just absolutely checks so many matchups, only losing to Poison, fellow Azus, especially the Play Rough run, fellow Azus, etc. It's just nuts just how powerful Azu is, and just like how goes. But as you see, checks a lot of matchups in the closer. And as you see, what you realign, you see the things that Azu lose against. Mandibuzz and Galvantula cover them very well. See? So if you realign well, you see how like there's so much coverage with this trio right here. That's why they're in the top 3. I can easily see this being the next BBML or the current BBML of Halloween Cup meta when it first comes out. And that's in 0 shield. Now up 1 shields, all 3 of these are monsters. They usually lose only against its hard checks. For example, Mandibuzz only loses against Galvantula just because of those Volt Switch damage because of electricity. Galvantula loses against Alola because it's fire, and same thing with Shadow Mawile. So, like, in the up 1 shield, Galvantula, Mandibuzz, and like, they're extremely powerful. Up 2 shields, they actually, as you see here, everything kills everything but Wigglytuff, and then Azu covers the Wigglytuff matchup. But as you see here, just, like, so oppressive. With up 2 shields on either one of these mons will cover majority of meta. If you look at the reason why Azu is the strongest closer, Azu does not lose to anything in the Halloween Cup meta with 2 shields. It literally doesn't, as you see here, it doesn't lose anything as long as it has 2 shields. Azu in the closer is a monster. Now the 2-to-1s obviously will flip a little bit, but as you see here in the 2-to-1s, you still cover a majority of the meta. Azu only picks up matchups against Tentacruel and Beedrill, but other than that, they still beat up, but in a 2-to-1 shield scenario, you still beat a horde of the meta. That's why Mandibuzz, Galvantula, and Azu is such a strong team. And that's it. That's just the technical analysis. Like, if you want to go to each one, I would run the Matrix as you see here. Mandibuzz, Galvantula, Azu, 2 shield, just run it with the Halloween Cup meta in the Matrix and then run it yourself and see how it is. But Mandibuzz and Galvantula, as you see, they just check so many matchups. If you go to in summary, Mandibuzz and Galvantula are really going to flip the meta really hard. If you look at just like the team build itself, they're like, as you saw in the shield scenarios, there are very few things that threaten this team. That threatens the Mandibuzz Galvantula core, and paired with Azu, you just have such a strong team. It's just really nuts, just like the stuff you can like do with this team. As you see here, everything but safety, that covers everything. A+ across the board except for Safe Switch. Even it looks bad for a safe, but Galvantula and Azu are still really good switches. Like I said, you see here, you check there are so many checks against a lot of the meta. It's just insane, like how effective this team is. And there are other things you can pair with it, but as you see, like, this core is incredibly powerful. You could even just use the Galvantula Mandibuzz, and then you could put in anything in the back. For example, you got like the alternatives are just nuts. Like, there's a lot of things you can pair with this core. If I were you, I like the idea of pairing Amok with this core. Just for me, just because it's able, like, just because of the pressure that Amok puts. But as you see, this core itself is extremely powerful. As you see, extremely powerful core. This is like an insanely strong core. Able to check a lot of matchups. Mandibuzz and Galvantula. As you see, with this core, the only thing that hard checks you is probably Galvantula, Swallow, Mawile, just a few things, and then like you check the rest of it. But it's extremely strong. And that's it. If you want a Mandibuzz, I would give it a shot. Try to look one for now and try to get one. Try to get. You're not going to get a good IV one unless your buddy trades you one, and then you get a really good one after, which is rare just because 12Ks are so rare nowadays. So in summary, a good thing is like if you don't have a Mandibuzz, just use Galvantula. But Galvantula and Mandibuzz are going to rock the meta. If you had planned a team before a while ago, or if you did in practice, I recommend you do it because, like I said, there are a lot of these two mods alone will give you hell. And they did, like I said in the rankings, they did flip some positions because some mons are now really good and some are not. But you can expect to see Mandibuzz and Galvantula a lot for Halloween Cup. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comments. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in a week in Halloween Cup for Go Battle. Have a good one.